For the last week or so, I've been kind of addicted to a new game, and I think Bungie can learn a lot from what makes the PvP in this game so intense and exciting. It features firefights with a genuine feeling that there's a lot on the line, there's tons of loot to chase, and there's gear that feels like it really starts to matter in a number of important ways. The Cycle Frontier is a new extraction-style shooter game where you try to collect resources, hunt for some rare loot, and fend for your life with a lot of potential danger in play at any time. I want to thank Jaeger Development for sponsoring this video, and seriously hear me out because I think you might really enjoy playing it. I was super interested in this game anyway, so it's really just a bonus that they wanted to sponsor my channel. If you've ever played or watched a game like Escape from Tarkov, I'd say this one definitely has a lot in common with it, but I think it's easier to get started with and definitely less overwhelming while still having a lot of depth and reasons to keep playing. It features a gigantic map with a lot of diverse regions to explore. Essentially, the gameplay loop here is that you're going to land somewhere randomly on the map with a drop pod. The items that you have when you drop are determined by the loadout that you choose to start with, and this is important because you can permanently lose those items at any time by dying. Each of the areas feature a lot of different PvE mobs which range in the danger that they present. Some of them are quite easy to kill and can even be taken out with a single charged melee hit. Others though are insanely tanky and dangerous, and if you're not fully geared up, you might want to do your best to avoid these things. This huge blue guy, for example, nearly killed myself and my buddy while we wasted almost all of our ammo trying to take him down. I'm not really sure that it was worth it. Some of the mobs drop materials, so it can be worth fighting them, but then you're also taking a big gamble because this is not simply a PvE game. Other real players are constantly drop podding into the open world map as well, and they can kill you and take all of your stuff. So at any time, you need to balance out the desire to hunt for new loot with the fact that there's real players that can hear you and come take you out. And the real reason this is so important is that if you die in the open world, you lose basically everything that you launched in with. This includes your weapons, your ammo, armor, your backpack and helmet, and any consumable items that you came in with, and any rare stuff that you found along the way. This is a big problem because that stuff can get really expensive, especially for some of the best items in the game. The only way to get out and not lose your stuff is to make it to an extraction point where you can call in a ship that takes you away back to base. That's if you can get there before anyone or anything kills you. This might sound simple in theory, but these extraction points are often quite a trek from where you first spawn in. So it's very likely that you're going to come across both aliens and other prospectors that present a lot of danger. In my time playing so far, I've had so many intense fights with other players. You're on edge the whole time you're in the game world because any sounds that you make can alert nearby players of your position. A few days ago, I was just minding my own business trying to mine some of the resources I needed to craft things back at base. But just making that mining sound with my pickaxe against the wall alerted some nearby players that came in and killed all of us and took all of our stuff that we hadn't extracted with yet. It was definitely a big bummer and a learning experience. The PvP is incredibly fun and very satisfying when you get a kill. If you've been following me for a while, it's probably not a big stretch to imagine that I particularly like using sniper rifles in this game. I've definitely had a blast sniping players and stealing their loot, but it's also a great way to help defend teammates if we're split up a little bit and they run into trouble and I'm not in close quarters. One of the features I found to be really interesting is the storm mechanic. Every so often there's a huge lightning storm that comes around and you'll get an on-screen warning that you can't extract while the storm's happening. Once the storm clears though, it refreshes all the loot in the game world so you can start searching for some new items. The thing is though, these storms sometimes come at the absolute worst of times. The other day I was in this intense fight with another team just trying to get away to extract my items, and of course that's exactly when the storm decided to hit. I was being chased by some of those annoying little PvE mobs while also in a crazy firefight with this other team, and of course the lightning starts to strike and kept hitting me until I died and I lost all of my stuff. You definitely want to be indoors when that storm hits because it's very scary out there. These encounters are just so intense and engaging. I've truly had so much fun playing so far because there's a genuine sense of danger and high stakes at all times. It's something I feel is kind of missing from a lot of other games I've played lately. There's this sense of alertness and engagement that's demanded by the setup of the game, and it's really addictive and fun. As a solo player, you can still get everything you need done to progress by yourself, but I've had a lot more fun playing with friends, and you can play in groups of up to 3 people. It adds a lot of intrigue to the gameplay because you're able to tackle some of the more high danger areas with the stronger mobs, and in a team firefight, it's so helpful to have someone who can cover you while you pop some meds to heal. Similar to games like Destiny, there's also a social space where you can interact with a bunch of factions and vendors. You even get your own little home-based apartment where you can make upgrades to your character and earn some passive income that lets you buy more stuff to get back into the field with a little bit more firepower. These factions in the social spaces can be leveled up so you can buy better gear from them, and you can progress them by completing quests and side missions. So even if you don't really feel like specifically going in to fight other players, you can just focus on collecting the things you need to complete your quest. Items in the game have the typical rarity system you'd expect from games similar to Destiny. These range from white to green, blue, purple, and gold for legendaries. You can buy weapons directly or use the ones you find in the game world, and every weapon can be highly customized with mods to make them even stronger. This is where you need to make some important decisions though. The cost of certain weapons and mods can get really expensive. For example, in my playing so far, I've really enjoyed using the DMR with a 2x scope, but the setup costs a decent amount of tokens as a newer player, and if you start to die a few times, you can easily burn through a huge amount of your currency. So sometimes instead, I would just drop in with a really cheap loadout like a pistol and try to find some other weapons to pick up off the map, or maybe get a sneaky kill on another player and just take their loot. There's also an extensive crafting system where you can make some really great stuff. I haven't leveled this enough yet to build much, but you better believe I got my eyes on that legendary sniper rifle that you can craft. The crafting really adds a lot of depth to the game because when you're out in the game world, you're always looking for rare items that you might need to craft something that could really help you out. This is something I otherwise feel is missing in a lot of games where you have to farm a bunch of materials, like your 1000th pile of spin metal you collected in Destiny, for example. The materials really feel like they matter in this game, and it makes you want to go out and specifically search for particular ones. And of course, like any good game in 2022, there's a lot of fashion choices to pick from, including weapon and player skins and emotes. I've really loved how the server system works so far. The server has a 6-hour uptime window, and you can drop in and out as much as you want to complete any of your quests. Other players are constantly dropping in and out as well, so there's a real sense that the game world is alive. There's also no lobby waiting times to worry about. You can simply choose to deploy whenever you're ready. I would highly recommend connecting your Twitch account so you can benefit from the Twitch drops campaign associated with the game. You can potentially win a 1 in a million legendary weapon, and there's 6 drops per day over an 18-hour period. You can earn these just by connecting your account and watching your favorite streamers who are participating in the campaign. The game's also entirely free to play, and the monetization is focused more on the vanity items to change your appearance, so you don't have to worry too much about pay to win being a big factor. I haven't spent any money on the game yet, and I've been able to play just fine and still get a lot of cool loot. It seems like your ability to play well and learn the map and the strategy is by far the most important factor to doing well. Here's a few rapid fire tips I've learned while playing that can really help make a big difference in your success. Your stamina bar can really easily get you killed if you're not paying attention to how much you have left. And when you're getting chased by a mini dinosaur who's spitting acid at you, it's really easy to forget to pay attention. It recharges faster towards the top of the bar, so it's best to not let it get too low, and it also charges faster while you're crouched. You make a lot of noise while running, switching weapons, and basic character interactions, so if you think someone's nearby, it's really important to crouch and try to be as quiet as possible to listen for their movement. This can be the difference between winning a fight and extracting, or dying and losing all of your stuff. And on that note, if you think an enemy player is nearby, it's very likely that they're hiding behind cover with a shotgun ready to gank you. I've seen this so many times already and nearly had the crap scared out of me. You really always have to be ready for a gunfight. You can hold your melee button to charge it and release it for a one-hit kill to the little strider mobs who run around. This is much quieter than shooting them, and it also saves your ammo. Every once in a while, there's these really cool meteor showers that happen, and you can mine the materials inside of them, which is really valuable. But you gotta be careful because they tend to attract a lot of other players as well. We've had so many gunfights with other teams who try to come and collect the materials. Around the map, you'll also find really interesting things you can interact with. For example, there's some batteries hanging around where you can plug into special slots that open up doors where you can get some good loot. There's also a ton of areas where you can bring keycards that open up secret doors, and there's even a mini dungeon. A lot of the stuff around the social hub has timers associated with the actions, so it's a really good idea to check in frequently and make sure those upgrades are happening while you're either gaming or you're hopping off to take a break. The safety pockets in your backpack are your best friend. These can store stuff that you'll keep even if you die and you aren't able to extract. But there's limited space where you can store things, so you really have to choose wisely. Do you want to keep something you need for a quest, or maybe some ultra rare thing that you found on the map? You can also upgrade your safety pockets for more space in your little apartment. The game has voice over IP enabled, so you can talk to other players in the wild and see if they're friendly or not. Sometimes this is helpful when you just want to complete a quest in a popular area and you don't want to fight. But you gotta be careful because you never know if you can really trust these other players. Also, on that note, be careful of your teammates because you can easily damage them on accident with friendly fire. When it comes to combat, it's tempting to run straight into any gunfight you find and try to get some kills, but you really gotta be patient because you never know if there's a third or even a fourth team around the corner. We found that the buddy system is really important to help each other have time to heal, and you don't want to try to be the hero running in with 1 HP trying to get a kill. Take the time you need to heal and use your smokes and grenades to buy yourself some time. Although the PvP is definitely really fun, this isn't Call of Duty. It's an extraction survival game, so play it smart and you're going to be the one who's extracting with all the loot. Some of the different areas in the map can be a little bit buggy and get you stuck, so be careful where you walk or hide, especially if you have some things that are really valuable in your backpack. I found the loot management to be a bit confusing at first, especially when you're in the heat of battle. Each item has a weight associated with it, and if something you want to pick up is heavier than your backpack will allow, you need to drop some other stuff in order to grab it. If you find a better weapon on the ground, it's probably faster to just drop your current weapon and pick up the new one, because otherwise you probably won't have enough room to store it in your backpack. Also, as you're getting started, those green stems are your friend. You really want to try to unlock those as fast as possible because they really help you to stay alive a lot better. And finally, be sure to explore. There's a lot of fun things to do all over the map. Just be careful not to get too greedy because it's easy to run into trouble before you find a safe extraction area. If you want to check it out, and I highly recommend that you give it a try, you can download it for free on both Steam and the Epic Games Store. Season 1 starts on June 22nd, and I definitely can see myself putting a lot of hours into this one over the next few weeks. Thanks again to Jaeger Development for sponsoring the video, and let me know in the comments if you decide to give it a try. Maybe we'll run into each other out there.